What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Today we're going to be adding wiring to the Mazda B2000. We want to pull the trailer that we've been building. If you haven't checked out that video, go ahead and check it out here at the top. But the trailer is pretty much 90% done. All the wiring is done on that, so all the lights are working correctly. But we don't have any wiring here on the Mazda B2000, so there's nowhere to plug it. There's nothing that we can't power this trailer at all. So that's what we're going to be adding today. Now, because I like making my life complicated, if you've seen the trailer video, you know we have a 7-pin connector in here because we have a couple other things going on with that. So we are going to be adding a 7-pin into the Mazda B2000. Now, if you wanted to add a 4-pin, I'm going to cover that in the first part of this video, so you can watch that if you want to just basically tow any trailer, 4-pin, anything like that. You should be able to do that with the first part of this video, and if you want to do a 7-pin, then stick around and watch the rest of it. But let me go ahead and show you all the parts that I have. We bought a couple harnesses that we're going to mesh together to make our 7-pin work and look awesome in here. So let's go over there and check it out. All right, everyone, and here we are looking at everything that we're going to be using today. We have a couple kits in here, a couple harnesses and everything, and I'm going to explain what each of them does. Now, the one first here that you have is going to be Hopkins 43755. This is an OEM fit plug and play kit. This is going to allow you to do any 4-pin trailers and also prevents you from having to cut into any of the wiring. You guys know I don't like cutting into anything if I don't have to, if I can prevent that. And this is the kit to get. This fits perfect on the Mazda B2000 and B2200, anything from 85 to 93, which is our generation. And surprisingly, it also fits the Mazda Miata from 1990. This is all you need if you only want to carry a 4-pin trailer. Grab that. I'll have links to everything down in the description so you guys can pick it up if you want. And moving on, here is where we're going to have a couple other parts that are not Mazda specific, but they are going to make our installation look super OEM, super nice. This is the same kind of plug that I have right now on my Tacoma, which I really liked it, and I really wanted to find the exact same one of that. And this is Hopkins 40974. This is just the bezel here. And as you can tell, there is no wiring, nothing like that. This is just the bezel that is going to make us look like this came factory on this truck, even though they never offer a 7-pin on the Mazda B series. Now, right next to that, we have also Hopkins 40985. This is going to be a universal OEM harness. This harness is what attaches to the back of this, and this is going to allow us to have all the 7-pin connections. We are going to have to kind of splice into 1 or 2 wires just because they're not part of a 4-pin, but everything else for the 4-pin, everything else is going to come out of this wiring kit. Now, we are going to have to cut this one, but obviously we have a 4-pin on this connector already, so there's really going to be no loss on that. Now, right next to that as well, I bought this little thing just to get the template of the actual connector over here, just because I didn't have this, doesn't come with a template or anything like that. So I bought this really to just trace the metal on the back of my truck so we can make a nice cut, and that way this can fit into it like OEM does. So this is everything that we're going to be using today, but we are ready to start getting the truck up in the air and removing a couple things that are going to be in the way as we do this. All right, guys, so I got my truck up in the air. You probably don't need to do this if you're only adding the 4-pin wiring. But if you watch my video, you know that this bumper is not going to be safe to pull the trailer with. So I don't want to risk this bumper coming apart, coming off as I'm pulling, being in an unsafe place basically. So we are going to go ahead and remove it. Also to allow us to go ahead and trace our bracket in there, trace where we need to cut to put the new plug in there, and obviously not mess this bumper up because I do want to keep it. I'm not getting rid of it, but we are going to go ahead and remove this. All right, so we have removed the bumper here, so we are pretty much ready to go here. I also took off my little bumper caps. Unfortunately, with the old bumper, you cannot have them on. So I cleaned this area and everything. And actually, as I took my plate and everything else off, I also noticed my little lights here are looking a little rough. So I think we're going to replace those as well. You can kind of see the back part here has been a little beat up, unfortunately. It's unfortunately a little bit bent, but I think we're going to use this side to put our new kind of plug in there, since this is the flattest part and it's probably going to be easier for me to cut than that one that's a little bit more crooked and everything. So check it out, guys. So we have the harness right here. This is the plug and play kit, and you can see it's nicely labeled here. We have a driver's side on this side. Hopefully you guys can see that. And then we have also a passenger side over here. And then we also have obviously the controller, which is gonna kind of do everything for us. This converts the signal in there. And then we have also your regular 4-pin. Now the regular 4-pin here, this is what we're gonna cut up to be able to connect the rest of our harness for the 7-pin from here, but we'll do that a little bit later. The kit also came with some nice terminal grease here, and a couple zip ties, and a little plug for this one. But again, we're not going to use the other end of that. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and remove the tail lights, both sides, since we do have to plug into that. All right, guys, so we got both tail lights now disconnected. We have our harness nice and out of the way here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna basically run our new wiring through this little hole here that goes to the bottom. That's where our harness is kind of going. We're gonna make sure we're putting it in here, connected what needs to be connected, and then we're gonna get underneath the truck and start routing it. All right, and we have the cable now. I've pushed it just from the bottom in there. You can kind of get your hands in there and grab it. And then from here, basically what we gotta do is just plug this into the original harness and then this into the back of the tail light, and you should be good to go. You can see the cable is kind of hanging right here on the bottom. And then we have the other side as well, kind of over here sticking out. And same deal, we're just gonna hook it up, and then we're gonna put it here on the back so it can be held in place with the kind of brackets that we have in there, so it's out of the way for the tail light. So with the harness connected, you can see here we have the connection into the OEM harness. This would just go into our tail light, and you should be ready to put the tail light back in here. Now I'm gonna leave this one outside for right now. I already went ahead and put my other one in there just because I'm gonna tap into this for my reverse lights. So we do have to tap into that. Obviously this is a 4-pin, it does not come with reverse lights, and because we want to have those in our trailer, obviously we are going to have to do a little connection, a little mod into this, and I'm going to do it into the actual 4-pin harness that I'm adding on here, because that way if we do need to take this later on for any reason, this leaves our OEM harness intact, and then that way we'll only tap into the extra one and we're not cutting into it. Okay guys, after verifying my video and some cable here with the tail light and everything, we find out this blue one is the one that is the reverse light. So we are gonna T-tap into this one and then run a wire right over there by the controller as well. So that way all the other wires into the new harness can go off of that, and then we don't have to worry about splicing anything in the middle. All right, so we have T-tap into where we need to go. We have our cable now running down here with the rest of this. So what we're gonna do now is just kind of put everything back in here and then start running the cable back to where it needs to go and tying up everything behind there. All right guys, so we are underneath the truck now and we're trying to put the cable in here. And at first I thought I was gonna use some of the stuff that's back here to kind of tie it up in here, but actually the cables are kind of tight as it is. You can kind of see that's already kind of out of the way and dangling there. It's not gonna work very well, so I'm gonna have to kind of loosen it from where I initially put it over here and just kind of zip tie it along the way, because I need that cable on that side specifically to go up a little bit higher, since our bumper is going to be sticking out through there. So honestly, at first it looked like it was going to have a lot of slack, but now that I have it on, it is a little tight. So you're going to have to work with that on your application. But outside of that though, we can put it out of the way, and then hopefully we have our other harness somewhere along here, and that way we can keep it all without any of the wiring showing in here. Check it out, here we have the old ones, and they are in okay shape, but honestly they are getting a little cracked, a little old. So today I'm going to swap them over to these ones. These are just a set of basically very generic lights. There are LED on and inside of it. The cable is pretty basic, so we're just going to do the same type of connectors and put them in there. It fits perfect on this spot because this is the same style I'm using on the trailer, so I already know that. All right, we got our new lights with the connectors here. We also added a little bit of weather stripping I had laying around just to kind of seal some of those little gaps. This is plastic, a little bit harder plastic, so you want to make sure you don't super tighten it or you're going to break this as well when you put it on the back of the truck. We are good to now go down there and put it on the back of the truck. All right, so down here we have pretty much buttoned up everything. We have our lights connected right to where they were before. Again, you might have a different type of connector. If you have the OEM ones, they're gonna be actual ones you can unplug, but this ones, since they were messed with before, this is what I went with. I did added some electrical tape in here to protect the negative, since I didn't have the one that has the actual insulation on it. And then our cable right here, this is for the wiring kit for the trailer. You can see right here is hanging. We have also zip tied that all along the way, all along this side as well. I'm gonna bring this blue cable, which is the reverse one, all the way over here as well, and make sure it's kind of zip tied together. And then this, we're gonna, I think, stick it with some double-sided tape up here. And I'll show you guys here real briefly how the lights look, the license plate lights, because obviously we can test them now, so let's do it. And check it out, there are the license plate lights, a lot brighter than the way before, fit perfect on the OEM spot, though pretty happy with that result. All right everyone, so now we are ready to move to the part I'm kind of dreading the most, which is cutting into the back of the bed here. I don't want to do it, but this is going to be the only way to make it look super clean in here. And as you can see, I kind of went ahead and marked off already with the bracket I had bought. So just put that against it, marked it as best as I could. And then we're gonna go here with the grinder and make a couple cuts, and then possibly change over to my Dremel to make smaller, more controlled cuts in there. And hopefully we can put the adapter right in place and not mess it up. So wish me luck. Check it out, guys. So there we have the hole now. We've cut it out. We used the grinder and then the Dremel here to make sure it was about the right size. Again, my thing was a little bit bent, so I couldn't get the exact size off the little bracket. We got close to it, and then I just kept kind of going in and out with this, getting it close, making sure where we needed to cut a little bit more, and basically Dremel that as we needed to. And then now this is basically ready to go in here. So now we gotta go underneath and do the wiring. Now the harness that we bought to go with this does tell you which cable does what, so that's gonna be easy. Also the 4-pin harness has on the cable themselves written what does what. So all we gotta do is match them up on the back, and then the only other cable we gotta match up is obviously our blue one here for the reverse light and the 12 volts constant that we're gonna run to the battery. Now I still haven't fully decided whether I'm gonna run it into the switch inside of the cab or directly to the battery. So we'll do that here last, but let's go underneath and do the wiring for this. So I went and hooked up most of the wiring outside of the truck. This is gonna be easier for me. Also just measure kind of the distance where this is gonna go and then what the other wiring is. And we basically just matched up the cables. So we got green with green, yellow with yellow, brown with brown. And there's a white one obviously for a ground off of here, but it doesn't really come off of here. It was just a ground to the chassis, which is what we have over here. So that's why we just went ahead and took it off. And then the only other cable that we have connected right now is my power cable. This cable is going to go all the way to the battery or to a switch. I haven't decided fully yet. But yeah, we're ready to move on to the truck. The only other wire we got to hooked up still is going to be the reverse light, which is the purple one here. That's why it's kind of left alone right now. Once we're under the truck, we're going to hook that one up. All right, everyone, so we have the harness here plugged into the 7-pin, and then we have the kind of harness going over here. It's going around here, the spare tire holder is zip tied into this. I didn't want to make this harness any smaller, so I'm okay with it being like that. I don't plan on putting a spare tire in here anytime soon at all, so it's okay. We have our ground right here into the frame. We made sure to scrape the paint off of that. We want to make sure we have a good ground on there. And then the rest of the cables are just kind of here and then into our 4-pin harness. Everything is connected how it should be. We have our reverse light as well connected. The only one you're not going to need is this blue one, which is a braking system or something like that. We're not going to use that at all. So we also have our power here. This is what this black wire is. And that is running all along here. I started to put it all along the frame. And then the power wire, we're running it basically just like we ran our underbody lights along the frame here, kind of along this side into the bottom. You're not going to be able to see it here, but I have my underbody lights right here. So hopefully you guys can see that. Let me see if I can get right there. So the cable is kind of zip tied to the top of that, so make sure it's not dangling. We're not going to see it from this side at all. That way we can run it basically all the way to the front. And the cable, we have it running all along the bottom here, protected out of the way. It's not dangling or anything like that. And then here I remove my fender liner. You can kind of see some of my other wiring goes through here. We are going to put the wire all the way up into the engine bay here. And then I'm going to have it go inside of the cabin, and I'm going to tie it into the switch. I decided I'm going to do it to the switch. I think it's going to be cool to be able to flip a switch and have the underbody lights on the trailer turn on, or have it off if I don't need them to be on. Instead of having to control it by the remote all the time. All right, so we've driven pretty much the cable here through the firewall, and then now we're gonna get it over there on the floorboard. So if we move over here, real quick. We're gonna see that we have it down here. That's the cable there. So now I just gotta make sure I get my switch out and then cut the end where I need to go. I'm gonna route a little bit through the back over here and then put the end that I need to so I can plug it into my switch over here, and that way we can have it be power when I turn it on and then be off if I don't need it. All right guys, so we have everything here hooked up now. We have our cable ready to be plugged in, and then now we have our switch here. I forgot what kind of a little rat's nest I got going on behind this. I honestly don't even want to show it, but basically the switch is ready to be plugged in. The switch also has an inline fuse in case something tries to overload or anything like that. It's definitely not the prettiest, but it's what works here. So we are gonna hook that into one of the switches, make sure we got it all connected, then we're gonna put all this back together, and we're pretty much done. Check it out, everyone. We have plugged in our trailer here. It's all nice and in place. We also have the new license plate lights in there looking great as well. We also have the issue of the bumper here. Obviously, the other bumper that we had is not gonna work with this, at least not to pull the trailer. So I wanna get the other one painted or powder coated or something so it looks a lot nicer. So now that I have it connected though, I'm gonna go ahead and set up the camera back here so we can see how the functions are with the lights. Everything is working great as far as I can tell, with the exception of the blinkers. I'm not sure if it's because I have LEDs on the truck, so maybe the blinking pattern's a little off. It's definitely a little bit more advanced than normal is. Something is going on there. If you guys know anything about that or have any ideas about it, let me know down in the comments. I want to hear from you. But right now, let me show you what happens in this basically. All right, guys, I'm inside the truck now, and we're gonna start with some basic stuff. Obviously, we're gonna press the brake. So now the brakes should be on the back of it. We're gonna go ahead and just turn on the lights so you guys can see. So we have the lights on now. Lights should be on the back. We're gonna go ahead and press the brake as well. Brake should be on. I'm gonna take that off. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and turn my truck on so I can show you guys the reverse because they are working pretty good. So let me go ahead and turn this on. All right, we're gonna go ahead and put the reverse on. Reverse is on. Reverse should be on the trailer. So that's awesome. Then we're gonna go ahead and turn on the blinker. We're gonna have the right blinker on. Left blinker on. Hopefully you guys can see the left one there on the screen. And then we're gonna turn on the hazards. Now the hazards is the ones that are giving me a bit of a problem, and you guys will see right here in a minute. So hopefully you're seeing that on screen. That's what happens when we put the hazards. And I feel like it doesn't know what to do. So it kind of freaks out a little bit. And then the other issue that I think we're having, if I press the brake and I put the blinker on, it works. Put the other one. But if I have the lights on, press the brake and put the blinker, it might not work. Put the other one. So if you know anything about wiring and why I might be doing this, definitely let me know. And just to get a quick reminder, I've connected the trailer to my Tacoma now. You can see the lights are on. If I press the brake, see the lights come on as well. We're gonna go ahead and press just the hazard lights on. I believe both of them should be working. Now, I honestly don't remember if I tested this with the brake and the blinker, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. Right blinker right now. Let's see what's going on. We're gonna go ahead and again step on the brake. Left blinker. I'm pretty sure this is working correctly on this with the Tacoma, but for some reason it's not working with the Mazda. So I think it's a combination of both of them. We're gonna go ahead and press the brake, press the hazards on. We'll see what it does with that. And another thing you might be able to see as well is the underglow. You can kind of see the underglow right now, how it's working. I forgot to turn that one on just because I was so concerned with the other lights not working, but it is actually working in the other truck, in the red truck as well. All right, guys, so there you have it. Now, as far as the install of the wiring and everything on the back, everything is looking great. It's looking good. I'm really happy how it turned out. We obviously are missing the bumper, so we are gonna go ahead and make sure our block bumper gets a little bit refreshed, renewed, so we can add that one in here so we can tow the trailer. Now, into the issue of the lights and the blinking. You can kind of see I ran into that issue. This was something I was not expecting. I was expecting everything to work properly. You can kind of see that it does blink. You have your left and right blink fine. You have your reverse fine. You have your brake fine. It's just when you turn on the hazards or when you step on the brake and you try to blink that you have a bit of an issue. Now, I'm not sure if it's a combination of my old wiring on this truck. Maybe I'm not outputting enough power in here. A combination also of the box itself on the trailer. Maybe it's not receiving enough power to split that signal like it should into a brake and a turn signal. You can kind of see on the Tacoma, you have no issues. It works fine. It works properly all around, whether it's hazards, whether it's brake and turn and everything like that. So again, not a trailer expert. So not sure if maybe I just don't have enough power. Maybe it's a combination of LEDs and power, output, input, what it is. So if you guys have some ideas, please let me know down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what I should look maybe into. I'm definitely going to be doing a little more research now that I encountered this because obviously I do want to all the lights to blink properly. Now I can live without the hazards working properly. That's not a big deal, but obviously the turn signal, I want to make sure that works. I want to make sure people know I'm trying to turn if I am pulling the trailer with this truck. They'll see my light on the front, but a cop could pull me over if they see the trailer light's not working. So something to keep in mind. I really don't want to have to remove that and make it into just one light. I really would like to use the full light in the trailer. That's the whole point of why I'm going through all this loop and hoops and everything. So please, if you do have some ideas, let me know down in the comments. But really, that's all I have for today, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you like what I'm doing. So please leave a like, hit that subscribe button, or leave a comment and let me know your thoughts. And we'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.